We live for nights like this. What a comeback. This is Locked On UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday night and welcome back to another episode of Locked On UConn. I am Matt Schonvisky, a two-time graduate, 10-year credentialed media member, and host of the only daily UConn sports podcast, Locked On UConn. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in the world. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for making this your first listen each and every single day. On today's show, it's all going to be men's basketball. Of course, the 103-98 overtime comeback win over Providence. We'll summarize. Then, Silas Demery Jr. What else can we say? I think it deserves its own segment. And finally, tonight's other big three, as 4 total players tonight went over the 20-point mark. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Rugiet. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rugiet ready, feel present, feel confident, feel ready. So the Huskies come from behind, down 11 with 4 minutes to go. I think it was 86-75. No business winning that game. No business winning that game. Yet the belief in this team, everything we've said over the last couple of weeks about this team, shone through down the stretch. When push came to shove. They've got the leadership. They've got the mentality. They've got the depth. They've got the shooting inside, outside. They've got the defense. And when push came to shove, down 11, backs against the wall, on the road, hostile environment, what'd they do? Did they back away and go hide in the corner? No. No. Not a team led by Silas Karaban. You're a leader. This team will never die. This team will never quit. This team will never give up. And they scratched, they clawed, and they did what this team is capable of doing. They came all the way back, forced overtime, and got the win. Braylon Mullins, career high, 24. Silas Demery, 23 points, 15 assists. Alex Karaban, 23 points. Terrace Reed, 20 points, 8 rebounds. So the ball, also in double figures. He had 10 points in 25 minutes. He did not play down the stretch. He did not play in overtime. And then Jalen Stewart was a big 3 off the bench late. Only shot of the game that was put in from the bench. As the bench was outscored 41-3 in this game, yet they came back and won. 49% from the field, 56% from 3. Defensively, Providence was shooting lights out. They also shot 50%, 58% from 3. Huskies were out-rebounded 37-33. But UConn's defense did come through. For 17 Providence turnovers, they had 11 steals. UConn turned it over 12 times. But what a game, what a comeback, what fight that they showed. And just reinforces everything we said about this team the last couple of weeks. The leadership on this team. The coaching on this team. The belief on this team. The depth of this team. And as the season goes on, and as you added pieces during the offseason to this unit, as you start to get healthy, as you start to build out your rotation, you're going to see things play out. Players are going to get more comfortable in their roles. They're going to understand what they're being asked to do. And you're going to see continued uptick in performance. What do we talk about? It's going to be a steady incline. Are there going to be ebbs and flows throughout the season? Yes. We saw it last time out against Marquette. UConn's been going up, but they had a little setback, but they still won by 16 points. That's how good this team is. And tonight, season-defining win. This is the type of game that when you get to the end of the season, when you get into tight battles in March, in April, these are the things, these are the nights you can pull from, the experiences that you can pull from, the comebacks that you can pull from to reinforce your belief in each other, to reinforce in yourself belief that, hey, we've been here before. We know how to get this done. We know how to come back. If we could do it in a tough environment against Providence, you can absolutely do it in tournament time with the experience that this team has from a coaching and leadership standpoint to come back in tight situations and handle those with flying colors. Because tonight was special. Darren Hurley talked about it postgame, right after the game. You could see, even at the handshake, he didn't even get to the interview yet, and I already knew what was going on in his mind. You saw that little smirk and that smile. I think he knows tonight proved him something about this team, which goes a long way to reaching and accomplishing a goal. Seeing something like tonight reinforces in his mind that this team is capable of doing something some of his teams of the not-so-distant past have done here in Stores, which is go all the way and win the title. Tonight reinforces that. Now, why were they in that position in the first place? We talked about that continuous improvement. For the first 30 minutes, Providence was quicker to lose balls. They wanted it more. UConn didn't come in ready to go again. Providence, you could see they were more hungry. They were building off of their win that they just had over St. John's. And they said, hey, we're going to come in, we're going to take it to UConn. And they did. They did. But UConn sustained and got over that first 30-minute session. The first half of the second half, and continued to perform and had the belief in themselves to be able to fight back and win this game. So when I say, I'm not hyperbolic when I say these are season-defining wins, these experiences matter, especially when you have big-time goals later on this season. So there were huge performances in this game. We're going to talk about 4 individuals the rest of this show. First up, I think he deserves his own segment, is Silas Demery. We've talked about him over the last couple of shows. Tonight, he went above and beyond and had his best outing as a UConn Husky. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game, game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. The boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Back in on Locked On UConn, following UConn's 103-98 overtime win over Providence, and Silas Demery Jr. absolutely delivered. 23 points, 15 assists, 5 steals, 3 rebounds, and only 1 turnover in 41 minutes. Let's go through that stat line again. 23 points, 15 assists, 5 steals, 3 rebounds, just 1 turnover in 41 minutes. 7 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. I've been telling you guys, I believe Silas Demery will be a key piece, perhaps maybe even the piece, when it comes to tournament time, by the time we get there. And tonight, you saw what he's capable of. You saw his top end tonight, and his top end was something else. And yes, he did it on the offensive end of the floor. His offense delivered. You want to know why I think that is? He's more comfortable in what he's being asked to do. A la Tristan Newton. Took him some time to come in. His first year he was here. To come in, learn the system, learn his role. How is he supposed to be running the team? Demery's going through that same situation. It wasn't until January where Newton got really productive. I remember a time his first year here, there were a lot of fans disappointed in Tristan Newton. I didn't hear that much about Silas Demery from the fan base. But you could see the entire time. And I think the experience that we've had with Tristan Newton, I think UConn fans thought the same thing could happen with Demary. Because you could see what he's capable of. You could see flashes. And then once he gets comfortable in what he's being asked to do, what Darren Hurley and this coaching staff is asking him to do in terms of running the team, being the heart and soul defensively of this team, the leader defensively of this team, to be able to come back and do what he did offensively, especially tonight. My goodness. 23 points, 15 assists, 5 steals, 3 rebounds, and only 1 turnover in 41 minutes. And 2 key plays down the stretch I want to point to. One, why do I like his game? Why do I think Demary is somebody that can be a really special player here the rest of this season? Yes, he could shoot from the outside, as you saw today, as you saw against Marquette when he hit 3 threes. He can shoot from the outside. But he can also penetrate. He can get in the lane. He can get to the rim. And he also has a step back, the like of which we've seen here from some of the UConn greats in the past. One in particular. I see a very similar type of game with Silas Demery. And you saw it. Game on the line. Put the game on ice with the exact same type of play that I'm talking about. The little crossover, step back, game winning to put them up by 5. That's play number 1. Play number 2 came on the defensive side of the ball. Got a steal there in overtime down the stretch. Got to the free throw line. So he took over the game on both sides of the court down the stretch. Offensively and defensively. One of his 5 steals on the night, like I mentioned. And just going back to how he's more and more comfortable in his role. I think it's huge for this team. Because if you have another guy like Solo tonight, who's having an off night shooting-wise, he was 3 of 10 from the field, he can step in and he can be one of the go-tos down the stretch. even to the point where he's taken the final shot, creating for himself off the dribble to put a game away. He has that in him. And you could see it from the first time he arrived here. His first couple of games. One of his first games, he put out a triple-double. One of only, I don't even know if there's more than 10 players in UConn history that has put in triple-doubles. You're talking Kemba, Duran Sheffer, those type of players. And you can see his feel for the game, how he takes care of the basketball, how he can shoot, how he can create, how he can get to the rim. He's going to be a special player here down the stretch. And he's only going to get better. I just want to keep reinforcing that as he continues to understand what his role is in this team, in this offense. And as the entire unit continues to stay healthy and they continue to learn how to and grow how they play together on the court, how they gel on the court, his game's going to take another uptick. And I think that's why you're seeing a performance like he did tonight. I think it's why you saw his shooting come more to the forefront the last couple of games. He's now 3 out of the last 4. He's been in double figures. He had 14 against Marquette. I think he had 13 against DePaul. So he's continuing to look for his shot more and understand in certain situations where he needs to look for his shot more. So listen, I think he's going to get better and better. And as this team continues to gel, this team is going to get better and better. And speaking of team and speaking of depth, we will talk about some of the other players that had great performances tonight, over 20 points, on the other side of the break. Let's talk about something most men don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, life. It doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Ridget Ready is designed to help you take back control. Ridget Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body, so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. Ridget Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue, so it absorbs fast. The science behind Ridget Ready stands out. 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. You connect with a board-certified doctor online, and everything ships discreetly to your door. It's easy to understand why over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, so you can stay present, confident, and in control when the moment is right. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now's the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's rugiet.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Back in on our final segment of tonight's post-game edition of Locked On UConn, following UConn's 103-98 overtime win over Providence. And so Silas Demery, we talked about, but he was not alone in terms of breakout performances and exceeding the 20-point mark tonight. Let's start with Braylon Mullins. Set a new career high. Previous was 17. Put in 24 points tonight on 8 of 14 shooting, 6 of 10 from the field. Man, he filled it up. And he's starting to try to take over games in ways that he is capable of doing so. And Darren Hurley post-game was not surprised. He talked about how, hey, we see this every single day in practice. We saw this from Braylon Mullins every single day recruiting him in high school. We saw this every single day from him when he won Mr. Basketball in the state of Indiana. We know what he's capable of. It just took him a bit of time because he got banged up, right? He missed a bunch of time early on in the season. During a time where he could have been exactly like what we just talked about with Silas Demery, how it took him until January to get accustomed to this team. Braylon Mullins is also learning, hey, what's my role in this team? The plays that are being called for me, how do I properly run them? How do I run off screens? How do I rub off the screener to give myself a little bit more space, to free myself up for maybe a bit more open space on the shot? And he's playing much more free, I feel like, over the last couple of weeks. You're starting to see him more and more. A little up fake, get his guy in the air, take one dribble to the side, open three. Or take a couple dribbles in, mid-range. His stroke is so smooth. Such a good shooter. He's not just this guy that can sit out there and bang threes all day. He's somebody that can also get inside, get to the rim. He can throw it down, too. And he can play defense. He's long, gets in passing lanes. Just such a good all-around player. But I have a little soapbox to talk about. In the game broadcast, Donnie Marshall started talking about how Braylon Mullins and UConn fans should enjoy this while it lasts for the next 2.5 months because he's going to be off to what I assume Donnie's talking about is off to the NBA. He said it like 3 or 4 times. And I talked about this the other day in terms of, hey, the advice some freshmen and some college athletes are getting that, hey, they need to forego college eligibility because they need to go immediately to the NBA as soon as possible. I think that's a wrong move until you're fully developed, especially guys like we saw with Liam McNeely a year ago. He missed a significant amount of time with an injury. Braylon Mullins did this year as well. And look what's happening with Liam McNeely right now. You think he'd rather be playing here at UConn with this roster in front of packed houses, like in an atmosphere like tonight, being able to have a performance like Braylon Mullins had tonight? Or do you think he'd rather sit there where he is now in the G League, not in front of fans, trying to fight his way back to a roster spot in the NBA? All because he was told, hey, lottery pick, and because you're a lottery pick, that means you should go. I think it speaks to the bad advice some of these college athletes are getting. And it bothered me, it irked me that Donnie Marshall is already saying, hey, Braylon Mullins should be one and done. Because it's ruining the sport of college basketball. It's ruining the game. The amount of talent that college basketball is losing because some of these players are now going one and done. College basketball could be on another level from a talent perspective. And it could be helping these college athletes further develop their skill set to be able to go in the NBA and be key contributors rather than having to fight for a path back to the roster on the G League. So I think that's something that I want to keep an eye on as we go forward. That's my little soapbox for tonight. Just because somebody has a 24-point game and looks really good doesn't mean they need to be one and done or go to the NBA the next year. We can have an era again in college basketball where, hey, you actually stay a couple years, or maybe we have an Alex Karaban that will stay in all 4. So maybe some of these players that are coming up can look at a guy like Karaban in terms of his success, how many national championships he's already won, and maybe very well could be adding a third here in his college career. And it's not a negative thing. You don't have to all of a sudden go chase the money in the NBA because guess what? You get paid here in college too, and you have a better experience. Better travel, better hotels, better practice facilities, better environments. Unless you're the absolute number 1 pick, you're going to be in better environments most of the time. At the college level. Playing for a school like UConn. Than the experience you're going to have in the G League. So can we please get away from, this kid's having a great performance, great freshman year, even though he's only played half the season so far. He doesn't need to automatically, and we don't need to start talking about how he's a one and doneer. We don't. So moving on from Braylon Mullins. Again, 24 points, silky smooth, and finding ways to start to take over games. Let's switch over to Karaban. You're a leader of the team. 23 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. Key shots, especially down the stretch as well. Almost had the game winner in regulation. Terrace Reed, our other guy that we're going to be talking about. Offensive rebound putback. Whew. He came on in the second half. Reed did. But man, Alex Karaban is being so consistent this year. 5 and 9 from 3. And being the leader that this team can look to, especially in games like tonight. Backs against the wall. Yes, your coaching staff's there, but you also have a guy here in Alex Karaban that's been there, done that, has been through the battles, has gone through experiences like this. Tonight was special, and you saw Alex Karaban at the end of the game. Let that emotion out. Look up at the crowd. This was a special win. It was a special, special win. Not just because of what it could mean for later this year. That's a huge part, but this is one of the maybe the best regular season, one of the best regular season wins this program has had since Dan Hurley's been here. And Dan Hurley talked about this post game as well. How this was such a special win for him because he had he obviously coached the URI, had some bad experiences in this building previously. And he called it the best comeback of his career. I think you saw some of the emotion come out from the UConn players as well. Final horn. A bunch of players came running out onto the court, meet up with their team, congratulate. It was a special win. It was a big win. Because this just reinforces the fact of, hey, what's this team capable of? And if a guy like Terrace Reed, the third player we want to talk about in this segment, 20 points, 8 rebounds. Listen, he didn't play great in the first half. He really came on in the second half. I think Dan Hurley talked about that post-game as well. Listen, I think he's still trying to get comfortable coming off his injury. I also think just my take on this, I think he put in a little more muscle in the offseason. He looks a little, I don't want to say he's slower, but he's not as fluid as he has been in years past. And I think he's still learning as he's coming back from injury, still trying to figure things out there on the post. But listen, if you're getting 20 points in an off night from Terrace Reed with 8 boards, and he's able to come through and offensive rebound put back to force overtime, I think you can live with that. So, listen, this team, the depth that we've talked about last couple of weeks, what have we talked about? We've talked about depth. We've talked about defense. You've talked about leadership. You've talked about belief in coaching staff, belief in Karaban. Anybody, any given night, you saw it all tonight. And solo ball off the bench. I mean, not off the bench, but was on the bench. Final 5 minutes? He played 25 minutes total. Late down the stretch, regulation, he was on the bench. Was on the bench all overtime. I think that speaks to the depth of this team. And that if somebody's having an off night like solo ball did, you have other guys that are much more than capable to be able to come in. 24, 23, 23, and 20 from your 4 other starters. The bench, like I said, outscored 41-3. Jaden Ross, I feel like he got in a few times earlier throughout the game. They say he only played a minute. Robert got 8 minutes. Malachi Smith 4 minutes. But like I said, Jalen Stewart was the only one to hit a shot. Rival was the only other one off the bench to take a shot. And Stewart came up big. He played 27 minutes. Impactful defensively. Was able to get in loose balls. Had 5 boards. 2 assists. Man, this performance was something. And it's going to lead to and reinforce the fact that, hey, all those things we talked about of what we believe this team is capable of achieving later this year, this type of game just further reinforces everything we've talked about. Everything that we believe this team is capable of. And I think Dan Hurley believes that as well. And he has an opportunity to use what happened against Marquette, where he was completely dissatisfied with the game, and yet they still won by 16 points. He's able to look at that and use that to further prep his guys in practice. And then to have another game so quickly after, where Providence was quicker to loose balls, Providence was making what seemed to be more of an effort. And to put yourselves in a situation where you're down 11 with 4 minutes to go and still come back and win the game and have every other aspect of the game that put you in that position in the first place to be able to work on and improve, and you still came out victorious in that game, I think that's a coach's dream. And then on top of that, to be able to see how his team reacted, I think that just further reinforces what Dan Hurley believes this team is capable of later this season. So we're going to, as I said, I think we're going to continue to see this continued uptick. Are they going to win every game? No. But I think nights like tonight reinforce that, hey, when push comes to shove and when games truly matter, when it's time for one and done, this team is going to be unbeatable. So with that, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On UConn. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And for a second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today, hosted by Peter Bukowski, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. And as always, go Huskies!